In this video, I'll be telling you some of the wildest behind-the-scenes facts about Suits, from royal script notes to fake skylines and storylines that almost got characters killed. So let's just get right into it. Suits almost had a shockingly dark alternate ending. When Gina Torres, who played Jessica Pearson, was ready to leave after season 6, showrunner Aaron Korsh planned a finale that would have completely blindsided fans. In his original outline, after Jessica moved to Chicago with Jeff Malone, she would be murdered by the very unstable Larry Marsden. The network shut the idea down instantly, deciding Suits was too aspirational for something that brutal. Jessica's survival wasn't creative mercy, it was a direct network order. The royal family even banned one word from Meghan Markle's script. The moment her relationship with Prince Harry became serious, the royal household began reviewing Rachel Zane's lines. They did not want the future Duchess of York saying anything that could be edited into a crude joke. Writers were forced to replace it with bullshit, a change Korsh openly disliked because the original word carried personal meaning to him. Suits was secretly inspired by real life. Surprisingly, the show was never supposed to be about lawyers. In fact, the world of corporate law was a last-minute change. Suits began as Aaron Korsh's own experience on Wall Street, dealing with intense personalities and industry pressure. Harvey's character was inspired by a real man named Harvey, who had an incredible memory and a history with marijuana. Korsh first wrote Suits as a half-hour comedy in the style of Entourage, but shifted to a one-hour drama as the story deepened. His own feeling of being a fraud as a first-time showrunner became the entire foundation for Mike Ross's Secret. Pretty wild how real life sneaks into fiction. Meghan Markle set strict boundaries early on, which led to a surprising request from producers. They originally wanted her to pose fully nude in several episodes. She refused, sticking to underwear or strategic coverage, which is exactly what we see in a couple of episodes. Good for her, honestly. The iconic NYC skyline in Suits never actually existed, which is hilarious once you know. The pilot was the only episode shot in New York. From episode 2 onward, production moved to Toronto. Harvey's office view, Jessica's panoramic windows, and even Harvey's apartment skyline were all giant posters. If you compare the pilot to later episodes, the difference is surprisingly noticeable. Jessica Pearson's role wasn't originally written for a woman. It started as a male character, but the network suggested making the role female. Casting was difficult, and executives tried to switch back to the original male version, but Korsh refused. Thanks to him holding his ground, TV got one of its strongest female powerhouses. Gabriel Macht's natural legal swagger came straight from his family. In an interview with the TV Addict, he explained that his sister was a former assistant district attorney in the Bronx, and his aunt and cousin worked in family law. He said watching them his whole life gave him enough confidence to fake being a lawyer convincingly on screen. The chemistry between Harvey and Donna wasn't acting. It was decades of friendship. Sarah Rafferty and Gabriel Macht met in 1993 at the Williamstown Theater Festival and have been inseparable since. Macht actually suggested creating the secretary character and then recommended Sarah for it. Their bond is what gave the Harvey-Donna relationship its magic. Fun fact, Sarah also knew D.B. Woodside, who played Jeff Malone, years before Suits. Small world behind a big show. Meghan Markle's $35 audition dress is a fan-favorite story. She arrived in casual clothes, realized she needed a more professional look, ran into H&M, grabbed a black dress for $35 without trying it on, and wore it in the audition. It fit perfectly. That cheap dress launched her journey as Rachel Zane. Suits eventually became something of a family affair. Harvey's season 2 love interest, Zoe Lawford, was played by Gabriel Macht's real wife, Jacinda Barrett. Gabriel's father played the Harvard professor who tested Mike, and Mike's ex-flame Claire, who appears in season 4, episode 13, was played by Patrick J. Adams's then-fiancé Troyan Bellisario. Suits really stayed in the family. While Mike and Logan Sanders were vicious rivals on screen, their actors Patrick J. Adams and Brendan Hines are best friends in real life, constantly posting funny selfies together. Always funny when on-screen enemies are off-screen buddies. One of the most savage Suits insults wasn't even scripted. In season 4, episode 13, when Mike tells Lewis he wouldn't have to look at the back of his own stupid, fat, balding head, Patrick improvised the entire line. Gabriel's laughter is genuine, and Rick Hoffman staying completely in character made the moment so good that they kept it in the episode. A crossover between Suits and White Collar almost happened. Imagine Harvey Specter teaming up with Neil Caffrey. Korsh and Easton discussed a joint episode, and writers began early planning. It died because the two shows filmed in different cities. Geography ruined a perfect idea. Harvey and Donna were almost roommates. When the cast relocated to Toronto, Patrick J. Adams offered Gabriel a room at his parents' home. But Gabriel didn't fit the bed and ended up renting an apartment with Sarah Rafferty instead. Feels very on-brand for their dynamic. Meghan Markle basically became the cast chef. She brought her Vitamix to Toronto and made shakes, pestos, and sauces for everyone. On Canada Day, she cooked for the entire cast and crew. Very wholesome. The cast's age gap isn't what people assume. Although Jessica is portrayed as more senior, Gina Torres is only 2 years older than Gabriel and Sarah, and 1 year older than Rick Hoffman. Patrick and Meghan, who are the youngest, are age mates. The power dynamic was entirely acting. The actors eventually took over directing responsibilities. Gabriel and Patrick served as co-producers and directed episodes in Season 4, with Gabriel handling Episode 11 and Patrick taking Episode 14. Cool behind-the-scenes evolution. The original title for Suits was A Legal Mind. It was changed by USA Network executive Alex Sepiol, who felt Suits was a stronger and more meaningful title. Hard to imagine the show with any other name. Aaron Korsh is a massive Game of Thrones fan, and he turned that obsession into a full-on takeover. Besides sneaking in references, he cast Michelle Fairley, known as Catelyn Stark, as Ava Hessington, and Conleth Hill, aka Lord Varys, as Edward Darby in Season 3. Westeros meets Manhattan. The Harvey Mike road trip in Season 4, Episode 13 wasn't real at all. Neither actor was driving. They sat inside a stationary truck on a soundstage for 6 hours while the crew faked movement. TV glamour at its finest. Mike's grandmother almost had Alzheimer's in the original script. Writers wanted to contrast her fading memory with Mike's photographic recall. They decided he had suffered enough and dropped the storyline. Probably the right call. Aaron Korsh gave himself a tiny cameo in Season 2, Episode 1, appearing in the scene welcoming Daniel Hardman back to the firm. Creator privileges. When Meghan Markle and Prince Harry announced their engagement, her exit from Suits was already in motion. Without asking for details, Korsh wrote toward Meghan's happiness months before the public knew. The announcement simply made it official. Almost every major Suits actor has appeared on a CSI show. Rick Hoffman is the only one to appear in all three: CSI Las Vegas, CSI NY, and CSI Miami. A weirdly impressive achievement. And finally, one last fact. We're one of the only channels actually breaking down Suits with real behind-the-scenes details instead of recycled clips. So make sure to subscribe and leave a like if you want more Suits deep dives like this one.